The Elements of Friendship, Book 1, Harmony, by Amaris Fickland. Chapter 17, The Hard Truth. Because of Pinkie Pie's sudden and inexplicably inexhaustible windfall of pastries, the standard quality of the food in Hartheim saw a sharp spike upwards over the next 2 days. It was more likely than not that stags, does, and fawns could be seen toting a sweet treat of some sort in the village square. The atmosphere of Hartheim had seemed to change as well, in contrast to the ennui bordering on the malaise prior to their arrival. There was a joviality in the air at every turn. One could expect a deer to crack a joke as quick as a gallop, something which Cobalt admitted had been a rarity even before the sun failed to come up almost 2 months ago. Perhaps the most notable change to Hartheim natives, though, was that in Fuzzhead's demeanor. Formerly a loner and dismissive of others, he seemed to have undergone a severe shift since he received his splint. Now he could be found with at least 3 or 4 other deer, talking with them about the arrival of the ponies and the hopeful return of daylight, enjoying snacks and laughing at jokes. Once they had their fit of shares of rest, Twilight Sparkle and each of her band found the deer and their village very refreshing to the body and to the spirit. It really allowed for the band to settle down and relax, without the constant march and push forwards to meet with someone or to retrieve an exceptionally rare book. "Feels like I'm back at home in Ponyville," mused Applejack, as a herd of fawns crowded around her. "My little cousin likes someplace like this." Twilight gave an amused laugh. "Which cousin? I seem to remember meeting a good 6 dozen and 4 cousins of yours before the summer celebration." Applejack sat down on her haunches, looking up into the stars through the tree branches. "Remember old filly with a short little tail, bit burlier than most her age, kept blowing her mane out her eye?" Twilight recalled a round, shied, and freckled face immediately. "Baldrat Seedley?" Applejack smiled at Twilight. "She prefers Babs, Seed, or just Babs. You really do got a player's memory." To Twilight's smiled dismay, Applejack's face sank into emphatic sadness. "She's not comfortable in Philly. Aunt and Uncle Lawrence brought her and big seed sunflowers up to the Blake City in Manhattan. On Phil's the coast there, they ain't so kind as most country folks. See, she ain't got a cutie mark yet, and she's been getting an awful amount of grief for it being so-called blank flank. She tried to cover it up with her tail, but..." Her eyes narrowed in disgust. "Some had the guts to pull at her tail, so it had to be cut short." Twilight gasped, "That's awful! Why haven't her parents done something about it?" Applejack's teeth bared. "Aunt and Uncle Lawrence are big-time social climbers. Aunt Valencia's plumb forgot almost everything about her country roots. Takes a rather bit of tail twisting to get her coming out for reunions, but she always comes. And the Anne, she always comes. I wish I could say the same for Sour Apple, but anyway, she's just so wrapped up in rubbing elbows with all sort of Manhattan elites that her daughter's kind of lived to the cold. Sunflower don't care, though. She's still stiff. I think I heard talking about trying to join the Wonderbolts within the year." "Sunflower. See, Pegasus Apple, right?" "Sure as sin, sugar." "Well, yeah. Sunflower's harder than Lane Leon, but Pegasus is a shy little thing. She won't hurt a fly, and her Earth Pony's magic kind of queer. It ain't like normal Earth Pony magic. Probably skipped a few generations or something." "How's it not ordinary? Is she like Pinkie Pie?" Applejack shook her head. "I don't think so. I said yes, if I ever caught wind of Pinkie Pie growing to 5 times her normal size." Twilight blinked. "Babs Seed is a burgeoning Earth Pony? Is that what they're called? Well, all I heard was bullies calling her Girth Pony because of her shapes." Twilight swallowed bile. The fawns, realizing that this was not a story that they liked, already began to disperse. How could fillies and colts be so cruel?" "I don't know. Well, see, Babs sometimes can control her shifting, especially when bullies on her tail. So, when she can take it no more, she'll grow till her head hits the ceiling, and since her weight goes up with it, she kinda finds herself sitting on a pile of splitters for long, and her parents get sent to bail." "But Surely your aunt and uncle must see how hard this is on her. No kid do, Twi. See, Aunt and Uncle Lawrence are all about climbing social ladders. They get on great with moon so let me tell you. I always thought they spare for bias amount to scold and her for dipping into their funds for social gatherings. That's why she's been looking forward to this reunion. It give her a chance to really get away from the troubles of city life, to connect with her sister and cousins, and to forget about her troubles for a couple of days. Now, they don't neglect her or nothing like that, so don't get all twisted up, Twi. I know that Ellen and Uncle Lawrence love babes in their own way. I know they loved me when I ran away to live with them. Twilight started, giving Applejack an astonished look. You ran away? Applejack shrugged. It was a couple of years before Applebloom was born, and I was just about 10. See, I got Ma sending her postcards for Aunt and Uncle Lawrence, trying to coax Granny Smith into retiring to the Big Orange. See, Uncle Lawrence is the great-grandnephew of the founder of Manhattan, and he's got a lot of connections to all sorts of big wigs out there who could give Granny a right comfortable place to live in so she could call it her final resting place. But Granny didn't take, so she didn't feel right living behind the farm she helped to build when her pa set up Ponyville. Well, me, I was just an impressible little filly back then. I saw the postcards of all the sights of the city. The Equine State Building, the lights of Broadway, the Bronicon Bridge, the Statue of Harmony, Ted Pony Tower. So I packed up a bundle and went out to the big city. Now, Aunt and Uncle Lawrence were kind enough to accept me, so long as I wasn't me. I couldn't eat out like I normally eat. I couldn't try how like I normally try, and, good heavens, dear, I couldn't even speak the way I usually speak. At that last, Applejack's country drawl vanished entirely, replaced with an exaggerated coldness that sounded uncannily like rarity. This was accompanied by Applejack assuming a far more stately posture than Twilight had ever seen on the farmer mare. It made Twilight feel sick and uneasy hearing that voice coming out of Applejack's mouth, seeing such aloofness in her demeanor. You see, darling, Applejack must have caught a shade of disquiet on Twilight's face, because he removed her normal casual body language very quickly. It weren't as fun as I imagined it would be, not by a long shot. Even Sunflower weren't let out of this. Babs is about a year older than Applebloom, and I think Aunt Orange just got heavy with her around at that time I left. It just weren't right. I couldn't wake up proper in the mornings, because there weren't no roasters crowing in the big city. It wasn't the same type of air in the streets as Manhattan as the country. And I just missed Ma and Pa and Granny Smith and Big Mike. Then one morning, I saw a rainbow off in the west. It was a sign, I'm sure of it, that my place was in the country, and Sweet Apple Acres bucking apples. Aunt and Uncle Lawrence didn't take too kindly to it, but they didn't fight it. It was my decision, and they saw that I got back to Ma and Pa safely. Would you believe that I got my cutie mark not too long after I got back? Twilight beamed. After an experience like that, it's not too surprising that you realized what was really special to you. Like humorologists say, no, it doesn't make sense for you to have rejected that life. The city life doesn't suit you. It's... Twilight absentmindedly traced a cloven hoof on the earth. Big cities like Canterlot are filled with ponies who fake kindness and friendship just to get ahead of the herd. And some of those ponies wear those masks for so long, they forget who and what they were before. Applejack nodded. And that's why I think Babs like it out here. There ain't no big city bursting at the seams with ponies all trying to reach for the top. So their kids ain't got angry issues that they gotta let their way out with one or the other. It's nice and quiet out in the country, just like Sweet Apple Acres. Of course, you always do get your bad apples here and there, but you can't let them spoil the bunch. I mean, look at Mr. Rich's little girl, country gal, but you'd never be able to tell from how she acts. I know. Twilight sat down next to Applejack, smiling. This really is a nice village. Yup, Applejack replied. Though there was a grand sense about Harnheim of buoyant optimism, Pinkie Pie's gumball radio did bring forth some foreboding. Food rations were growing scarcer across Equestria and abroad. Some ponies had even attempted to murder some fellow pony who had a scrap or morsel of food. Most distressing, however, were the reports of ponies who had died because of overwhelming cold or the sudden snow front in their area. These reports were bracketed with brief advertisements for families to leave deceased loved ones out in the cold, where their bodies would remain preserved by the chill, rather than risk holding a funeral or freezing to death themselves. I hope that this is not the will of the true Queen of the Night, Twilight thought solemnly, her thoughts going out to the bereaved families and to the enslaved Alicorn. Though I can't imagine very many ponies are going to be too forgiving of her if we free her. When we free her for the miasma. Daydreams of a Daisy remained a regular feature of the radio waves, attempting to brighten up the lives of any pony who would listen. The serenity of Octavia's skill on the cello, playing many of the old classics, was interspersed with warnings of which was the latest city, town, village, or hamlet to be subject to martial law, and the quickest and most efficient way to start a bonfire, with occasional guests who would take care to remain anonymous. Twilight recognized one voice, though, in the former of one walkie-talkie. Kibitz, the now exiled chief steward of Canterlot.
Remember,
Kibitz cautioned,
as heartrending as it may be, feeding your pets must be your last priority. Unless your pet is a necessity for keeping your home afloat, you may have to see it off to its final rest. As far as food rations go, foals take highest priority. Youngest first and foremost, then mares, and then stallions. We strongly advise you, only eat so much as you will get by. We will do our best to survive as long as we can. For Queen Celestia.
Any time. Thank you, walkie-talkie, for joining us today,
replied a somber Octavia.
Any time, my dear.
I met Steward Kibitz before. Twilight mused aloud as the program gave way to a jazzed recording being scratched away by final DJ Pole 3 scratch. He was always keeping Queen Celestia updated on her schedule, making sure to remind her of things that needed to be done. But she always remembered. She has a better memory than me, and I remember everything! I remember he was so fussy about every little thing, trying to find something that he could remember of the Queen's schedule that she couldn't. But he never could. She chuckled. I remember Queen Celestia trying to get me to call him Uncle Kibitz, but he's the steward of Canterlot. He's not my uncle. That just didn't make sense. But nevertheless, Twilight's expression grew ponderous and bodily distress, as he said no more as DJ Pone 3 continued to scratch at the jazz. Going by the word of Hartheim natives, this is about the only aspect of Hartheim that had not seen a change over the course of the arrival of ponies and their drake companion was the village elders. The 5 of them had long been wary of admitting outsiders into Hartheim, though Madame Oleander had always been closer to the voice of the village than the other 4. Even these dears were aware of the myth of Nightmare Moon, the one they called Dark Mare, or the harsh mistress of the moon, and the implications of her return to the world of the living boded ill in every deer's heart. As such, it was accepted that Oleander was perfectly rational to let the band of outsiders in out of necessity of the Dark Mare threat. Despite her own hesitance to welcome Twilight Sparkle and her band into the village, Madame Rosemary proved to be a quite curious host. She was quick to supply the Coconut Strawberry household more luxurious mats than present previously in it.
After all, she explained, we may very well be playing host to the saviors of the world.
As well as a greater supply of ice for their icebox. Maybe it was just the added sugar in her system talking. Or maybe it was Pinkie Pie's infectious joy. But the previously unsympathetic elder had grown rather kinder as the days progressed. Not wholly kind, though. She still made an occasional remark regarding the length of their stay.
So, where shall you proceed after you've left? She asked. Have you given that thought?
Twilight hesitated slightly. She had contemplated the destination her band would make for after they had cleared out of Hartheim, but no ready location came to mind. With so many places around Equestria now under the iron hoof of the Nightmare Guard, and the shadow bolts more fervent than ever in attempting to track them down, the options were few. But to assuage the elder doe, Twilight put on a fake smile and replied, We just need to get a few things together and we'll be on our way and get out of your hair. For real! Seriously. Rosemary cocked an eyebrow at Twilight suspiciously, clearly uncertain as to whether to take Twilight at her word. After several tense moments, she evidently decided to give Twilight the benefit of the doubt and trotted away.
A time and a place for the truth, T.S.?
mused a scratchy voice from overhead. Looking up, brought into view a pair of cerise eyes.
Hello, Rainbow Dash,
Twilight said coolly.
Hey yourself,
replied the cerulean Pegasus as he fought down to Twilight's eye level.
Going to chew me out for not being honest, Miss Brutal Honesty?
Twilight replied sharply.
Whoa, cool down there, Purple Smart. I think that almost got me in the knee,
Rainbow Dash said hastily.
But seriously, where are we going to go after this place?
Twilight cast a glance over her shoulder to see whether any of the village elders were near. She could only see Oleander, who was presently engaged in a conversation with Applejack, and paying no mind to anything else. Twilight leaned in close to Rainbow Dash, who cocked her ears.
To be honest, I don't really know,
Twilight whispered.
Our hooves are really tied here. We can't go to Ponyville for obvious reasons, or any of the other places we've been to since we left. We can't go near Canterlot until we have all 6 elements in hoof. And more cities are playing host to more and more garrisons of the Nightmare Guard every passing day. I don't even know how long we can stay here. If the Shadow Bolts are in collusion with the Headless Horse, then we might only have a matter of days or hours before the Nightmare Guard shows up here. Calm yourself, Private,
Rainbow Dash said sharply, in imitation of a drill sergeant.
Your contrail's showing.
Twilight paused, wondering how Rainbow Dash could take this revelation so calmly. Deciding for the moment to hear the cerulean Pegasus out, Twilight took a deep breath and sat herself down.
That's more like it,
continued Rainbow Dash with a bold smirk.
You're saying we don't have many places to go? Well, what about Cloudsdale?
She cocked her head hopefully.
It's where me and Flutters grew up. You did say something about some sort of cloud walking spell way back when, didn't you?
I'm impressed you remembered that, Twilight answered truthfully. She had not received any prior indication that Rainbow Dash had given much more thought to the idea of commatory spells than to make a snide comment on Twilight's well-readiness.
Ha ha! Very funny, T.S.
Rainbow gave Twilight a slightly sour expression.
But seriously, what about Cloudsdale? Does he think that place would be such a cool place to stop by after we leave here?
If Twilight Sparkle had to admit to herself, Cloudsdale did seem rather promising. It was a place where very few non-Pegasi made venture to, as the entire city was constructed out of clouds, which only Pegasi and Bat Ponies would walk upon. The commatory spell, written by renowned Pegasus spellmaker Cloudwalker, allowed for non-Pegasi to become temporarily able to walk on clouds, as Pegasi did, and the main city was not yet quartered with the Nightmare Guard. Only the land-based settlements below had seen such martial law. It seemed perfect, especially since they were preparing to defeat the cloud cover. Or, too good to be true.
I don't think that would be such a good idea,
Twilight thought aloud.
What? Why not? Flutters and I grew up there. You could crash at my parents' place. I'm sure they'll let me in too if they see Fluttershy with us. Here's the thing, Rainbow Dash. Your family is there. Even if there isn't a big Nightmare Guard garrison at Cloudsdale now, as soon as word gets out that we're there, they'll be all over us like breezes on pollen. And don't think that word won't get out. Word got out from Ponyville that we were at the Crystal Mountains.
Her ears flopped down lightly.
And I thought I could trust them. It was probably one of those white-collared brats that's been giving Scootaloo trouble,
Rainbow Dash growled, pounding one hoof into the other.
I'll teach them to mess with my little buddy. We're losing focus, Rainbow Dash. I was saying that the chances of Cloudsdale facing a Nightmare Force invasion go up significantly if we set in hoof on or near the city. Maybe the reason the city's so lightly defended is because they expect us to go there. Rainbow Dash's eyes widened in realization. Oh, so yeah, I got it. Cloudsdale equals no flying zone. It would be nice to see Mom and Dad again. Good to know I'm doing fine, making ends meet, working bill to bill, without them there. The Cerulean Pegasus looked pained suddenly. What's wrong? Nothing, replied Rainbow Dash, too quickly to be honest. Come on, Rainbow Dash, be honest. Rainbow Dash's cerise eyes met Twilight's purple, and she gulped. Mom and Dad kicked me out. Why? 'Cause I quit flying school. Dad wasn't too happy about it. He practically grew up there, see? But I idolized a big-time Wonderbolt back then. His name was Golden Eagle, and man, was he a showstopper! I mean, did you see his Firefly Flash? I swear, seeing the stadium lighting up with fire and lightning. She cleared her throat. Anyway, one day, I just had to get his autograph after a show. Is this going somewhere, Rainbow Dash? Asked Twilight. This sounded more like a fangirl's anecdote that she'd rather avoid if she could. I'm getting to it, don't worry. So anyway, I hold out a poster of the Wonderbolts with him up front. He was the team captain before Spitfire, you know. And I asked him to make it out to his biggest flying school fan. He then looks at me, winks, and says,
Between you and me, kid, I done flying school when I was half your age.
Let me guess. You quit the next day? Bullseye. So yeah, Dad didn't take it too well. Said I was throwing my life away on a fancy and stuff like that. Horse apples, I told him, and he hit me for that. Yeah, I cursed at my dad, but hey, I was a passionate filly. Still pretty passionate nowadays, actually. But anyway, things went south with Dad from there. Trained myself a lot after that. Usually low to the ground, you know. The whole live high, train low sort of thing. Anyway, I was doing pretty awesome, if I do say so myself. But the day I turned dozen to 3, the day I became a mare, was the day Dad changed the locks. You're kidding! Hey, you want it honesty? You're getting it. Anyway, that was the day I said to Fluttershy, Hey, Flutters, this place blows haystacks. Let's find someplace else to call her own. And she tells me she's been eyeing a place called Ponyville. Out of the way, small place, but with a killer view of Canterlot. So, I figured, why the hell not? I mean, it's not like I had any better place to be, right? She finished with a bitter smile and drooping ears. Twilight could not take her eyes off the Rainbow Dash. All this time, she had been giving the Cerulean mare short measure, assuming that what she saw was what she got. But really, there was a good bit more roiling away behind those cerise eyes than she previously believed. There was no chance that this was a hoax or a play on Twilight's feelings. She knew Rainbow Dash long enough now to know that even a white lie was obvious from the Pegasus with the prismatic mane. She owed just as much honesty back in return. I have a bit of family history to tell you as well, Rainbow Dash. Dear Applejack, spoke Madame Oleander, there is a matter regarding a party that troubles me. Applejack gave the elder doe a quizzical look. Well, I can't rightly think of any matters about our band that's still troubling, but if you'll sell your mind, I'm all ears. It's a matter regarding your unicorn friend, Twilight Sparkle. What's the situation, ma'am? Well, Oleander seemed to hesitate, as though she were loath to delve into this particular topic. It seems as though she has particular dominance in this party of yours. Sugar, ma'am, Applejack replied brightly. This was her duty and task set to her by Queen Celestia itself. Being a smart little student, Twilight ain't the sort to turn down her teacher. Even if it was her duty and task to make friends? Pressed Oleander, with a subtly acidic tone. How can you be so certain that she is truly your friend if, as has been made clear to us the past few days, She only traveled to your village of ponies at the insistence of the Queen herself. Applejack did not pause or even hesitate. Because he stuck by us for all this time. At any point when we were in the Everfree Forest, Canterlot, the Wide Plains, the Crystal Mountains, Equestria, Ponyville, she could have dumped us, but she didn't. Now, it may not have been her first choice to come to Ponyville, but I don't think she regrets it one bit. She might have been kind of short with us all the first few days. Well, ain't all friends and might antsy with each other at first. Sometimes it lasts a lifetime. I've known Rarity and her family for as long as any pony, and I can't name a single other pony I've butted heads with more. But how can it be called friendship? Insisted Oleander. If you argue a quibble, let friends not always be gladdened by each other's presence, and not raise a fuss over something that another has said or done. You know what's funny about that line? This was written before Season 5. Prophetic, isn't it? Applejack shook her head sadly. Begging your pardon, ma'am, but you just don't get it. Being friends ain't just about smiling and nodding along with anything that somebody else says or does. Do friends fuss and fret a bit too much? Probably. But after the argument's done, then friends can turn the conversation right around to righting things and making sure these arguments don't happen again. I mean, look at Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy. Them two's as close as can be. Said to be married even. And even their feathers get rustled every now and then. Even so, if Twilight Sparkle really is your friend, why is so much of this endeavor of yours geared toward her own ends? I always thought that friends were on equal level with each other. Applejack furrowed her brows impatiently. Now, I don't know if you got your facts lined up proper, Miss Oleander. As far as I know, saving the world sounds just about right for a student of Queen Celestia. And it's not like Twice just dragging us around to make her knows where without putting it to us first. So always make sure that we're all keen on where we're going before we go. And Applejack raised her voice, noticing Oleander starting to open her mouth in protest. Even if I didn't rightly agree with where we're going, I wouldn't abandon Twilight. I'm an apple, and there's one thing we pride ourselves on, is that we never abandon a pony in need. I've never backed down from helping some pony out, and I got the scouts to prove it. Applejack shifted slightly to the side, showing the deep bite marks in her back to the doe. The scars across the bridge of her muzzle, darkening as she tilted her head to the side. Oleander gazed down on Applejack with a neutral expression. The Palermo Earth Pony merely scowled back. Very well, the elder said lowly. You are a stubborn one. I can see why the mare hyenas had such trouble with you. Darn tootin'! Applejack boasted, before flicking her tail and trotting off. Rainbow Dash's eyes spun. Whoa. So, all this time we've known you and you didn't tell us about this? Yeah, Twilight answered. I didn't think you girls really wanted to hear me gripe and moan about my own life problems. It's bad enough I dragged you all along on this big mission from the Queen. No big deal. Rainbow Dash smiled, with a flippant wave of a hoof. At least this'll get me on the Wonderbolt's radar for sure. She paused, before offering a nervous grin. Well, that, and I get to help out my best unicorn friend ever. I'm sure of it. No, seriously, I mean it. You cannot imagine what it's like for me to hang out with Rarity. It's always, the rest is, and darling that. And that stuff's not really my thing. She's even had me work for her as a model for her when her little sister got the mannequins into her boutique slathered with tomato sauce. She paused at the awkward look in Twilight's face. Don't ask. But anyway, I just can't be a model for some pony who needs me to stand still. I mean, do you even know me? A moment sitting still is a moment wasted. I need to dash. Sitting still is just so on Rainbow? Twilight suggested. Yeah, exactly! That's so not me to sit still. Well, except for Fluttershy, but she's special to me.
Rainbow Dash's eyes face flushed pink, and a softer smile than Twilight had ever seen on a Australian mare crossed her muzzle. If you don't mind me asking, Rainbow, Twilight ventured, why Fluttershy? She's so not you. Rainbow Dash's eyes sparkled. Because she's not me. What? Do you think I think every pony who is not me isn't awesome? Don't answer that question. But anyway, I guess it's because Fluttershy was always there for me. Sir, she spent more of that time in the bleachers than at my side flying through cloud rings. But I've always known she's had limits. Mom and Dad always loved having her over. It was like they had another kid, and I thought it was like having a sister. For a while, I mean. It did frustrate me when she would get seriously spooked by my pranks. But I did kind of learn to back off a little. After I swore to her I would never throw a prank her way again. You should have seen the look on her face. You think I'd propose to her then? Ty's heart rushed with a new fondness for Rainbow Dash. Despite having been in the same band for almost 2 months now, there had never been a moment they had a talk like this. They were always too distracted with their mission, too absorbed in their surroundings, or too tired from a long day's canter or an enemy's pursuit. Despite the Pegasus' brass and arrogant attitude, scratchy voice, and halitosis, hey! Twilight felt she could count on Rainbow Dash as a truly good friend. So, how did she take it when you put the question? Oh, I was the one who proposed. She did. Twilight blinked in astonishment, wondering if Rainbow was pulling her tail. But the mirth in Rainbow's eyes did not look like the sort from pulling a gag on some pony. Really? Rainbow Dash nodded, her canine teeth glinting in her grin. Seriously? Rainbow Dash nodded again. Fluttershy proposed to you. Hard to believe, isn't it? I mean, obviously I'm so blunt and straightforward that I had to be the one to propose first. I'm sorry that I assumed that of you. Don't be such a wuss about it. I wouldn't hold it against you. Besides, we were all in pieces like you would believe after we got you out of Everfree. That place. Ugh, she shivered. I'm going to have nightmares about it for years, I swear. But Fluttershy. Oh. You should have seen the way she showed that receptionist the old what for. I swear, she must have used to stare on her or something to get you to a good hospital bed ASAP. But after it was over, she just fell onto me. And the question came out. Of course, I'm so awesome, I said yes. You sure seem to ascribe a lot of awesomeness to yourself, Twilight noted flatly. Well, when one of your role models is Daryl Firefly, you do tend to see the opposite side of things. Maybe, but I think a distinction has to be made between awesomeness and big-headedness. I'm sure the Wonderbolts will see your aspirations toward the former as a pretty bad case of the latter. Twilight and Rainbow Dash's expression soured somewhat, her ears flattening as she cast a bitter look toward the lavender unicorn. Twilight shrugged. You wanted honesty, so I gave it to you. Sure thing. In a flash, Rainbow's withering look snapped back to straight to joy, and her eyes widened brightly at Twilight. Hey, Twilight! We both realize how honest I am! Twilight beat back. The element of honesty! Twilight galloped from the corner of the village square, almost as quickly as Rainbow Dash could fly, which was saying something for the unicorn. The pair beelined straight for the Cobalt Starberry home, gathering odd looks from passing stags, does, and fawns. Bursting through the door, they spun about to face Rainbow Dash's saddle sail. Twa, Rainbow? What in tarnation? Gaped Applejack, who was sitting with her forehoofs folded crossly on her luxury mat. Twilight's Alicorn glowed pink, the last on Rainbow Dash's saddle sail flicking open, and the mouths of the sail spreading wide. There showed the dull gray shards of Rainbow Dash's element of honesty. Ooh, these are so good quality rocks, Pinkie offered from over Twilight and Rainbow Dash's shoulders. Putting Pinkie Pie's comment aside, Twilight leaned down toward the shards of the element of honesty, eyes narrowed at the seemingly reluctant stones.
She knew that logically she would see a glimmer of light from the rocks. But some small part of her still hoped. "What the hell's going on, Twilight?" asked Applejack, rising to her host. "Rainbow Dash was honest, Applejack," Twilight said shortly. "But her element won't activate." "Are you sure, though, Twilight?" Rainbow Dash asked. "Are you sure that I'm not the element of loyalty, and AJ's the element of honesty?" "I don't think so," Twilight mused aloud, as he ran a hoof over her stubbly chin. "In all that time that I've known you girls, you've never been dishonest or disloyal, even for a moment. But Rainbow Dash, you're the one who always spoke her mind, no matter what or when, even if it made me angry. So I really have no doubt you bear the element of honesty. I'll be honest, I've sometimes wondered if you're even capable of lying about anything but reading Daring Do." Rainbow Dash scoffed. "Oh, please, I just tell it like it is." Applejack's eyes narrowed slightly at the contents of Rainbow Dash's shadow cell. "Just what kind of honesty were we talking about here, Twilight?" Twilight and Rainbow Dash exchanged looks. Rainbow Dash gave a small shrug, which Twilight took as a sign of permission. Still, she did not think that complete details were entirely necessary. It was about Rainbow's slightly turbulent family history. Applejack turned her gaze upon the element of honesty, then Rainbow Dash, and then Twilight. "Well, I ain't no expert on elementology or nothing, but I reckon that sort of honesty's just a bit too easy." "Easy?" echoed Rainbow. "Could you be any more vague than that?" Applejack glowered at the cerulean Pegasus. "I don't appreciate the sarcasm, Rainbow. But what I'm getting at is that it took bigger things than just that to light up the other four elements for this one. I mean, really? Say sacrificed a saving reason for Equestria, didn't she? A Planky Pie showed you that being happy don't have to go hoof and hoof and not taking things serious like. I was just doing what was right instead of what was easy. And Fluttershy, she went on about how you gotta be nice to ponies who are cross with you. So, what do you get at that?" Rainbow Dash queried. Applejack groaned, but Twilight stepped between the other two mares. "What I think Applejack is getting at is that it takes more than just a literal demonstration of the element you bear in order for it to manifest itself. I mean, it's not like the element of generosity would have activated if Rarity just threw her razor onto somebody else's luggage, right?" Rainbow Dash still looked rather perplexed. I guess. "So you see, Rainbow, it takes more than just telling the truth, to be honest." "Well, AJ, you sure that you're really not the element of honesty?" "Well, there's more to being honest, I think, than shooting off your mouth as soon as figuring something out." Cerulle's eyes creased in irritation. "What are you getting at, apple snack?" "I'm getting at the bone, and you're looking to pick with our host." In the span of less than a second, Rainbow Dash's eyes became wide-eyed and rapturous with revelation. Then she gave a very knowing smirk. Twilight did not like that smirk. "No! No! A dozen times no! There is no way that you're telling Butter and Eggs what he really is. And why not? Because it will crush him and everything that he knows. He'll know that his parents have been lying to him as long as he's known them. But he deserves to know the truth. Everyone deserves to know the truth, even if it hurts them, because the truth is way cooler than lying, because it's for real." Twilight sighed in frustration. "Stop being so idealistic, Rainbow Dash. The world isn't such a nice place that the truth will always be triumphant over lies. I've seen enough bigwigs back at Canterlot who would say one thing and mean another to know that the ponies in this world who really matter don't really care as long as they get more than what they see as their fair share. The truth doesn't matter to them. They'll literally say anything if it means getting more bits that they don't need." Rainbow Dash groaned. "I didn't come here to hear a lecture on economics, Twilight. I came here to find out if my element was lining up, and I found out it's not. Just what sort of honesty, truthfulness, does this stupid element want to hear out of me?" A shout of frustration. She slammed her forehead against the floor. This was answered by another slam against the door from the outside. Who's there? Pinkie Pie trailed. Cautiously, Twilight lit her alicorn. The door latch glowed pink as the door swung inward. What turned out to be the best, as a bald eagle was currently running a tawny owl that lay hooting feebly on the doormat. Ooh, ooh, ooh. A fire lit in Twilight's heart at the sight, and her horn flashed dangerously at the eagle. It stopped its attack at once, turning an unblinking golden eye at Twilight. You leave the poor thing alone! Twilight snapped at the eagle. It seemed thoroughly interested in what Twilight was saying, as it flicked its claws and made to descend on the poor owl again. Get away from that poor defenseless owl! The eagle spun about in midair to meet Fluttershy eye to eye, and the gleam in its gaze seemed to change slightly at the contact made being between them. You should know better than to attack an owl the way you are. I don't know why you are, but frankly, I don't care. You're upsetting my good friend Twilight, and I just won't allow it. You leave this owl alone, and don't ever let me see you come near him ever again. The eagle's wing flaps, which had been slowing under the force of Fluttershy's stare, slowly began to pick up as the bird of prey took up to the treetops and out of sight. Twilight smiled at Fluttershy. Thank you, Fluttershy. I don't know if I would have been able to scare that eagle off without magic. But how did you show up so quickly? We heard some sort of disturbance, like a bunch of birds fighting, Fluttershy explained. I think this poor thing accidentally flew too close to an eagle's nest. Looking closer at the tawny, Twilight saw that many of its feathers were ruffled badly, and its right wing was bent at a bad angle. This owl would not be flying again anytime soon. We need to fix this poor guy up, Twilight said sadly, and Fluttershy nodded. Twilight's drummer shimmer gleamed around the owl, which twisted its head in curiosity as it hooted inquisitively. Ooh. Looking into its black eyes, Twilight could see a keen interest in its surroundings. Digging into the new environment as the laboratory unicorn levitated him in. Fascinated by the owl's disposition after the eagle was gone, Twilight was careful as she placed him on the table. Thankfully, no blood had been spilt. Twilight, cut in Applejack. I don't know if Kilmont and Strawberry will take lightly to some forest animal calling their house a home. Applejack, replied Twilight, and the Polemo was astonished at the fervor and fortitude in Twilight's eyes as he stood near the owl. This owl is badly hurt, and he needs medical attention immediately. I'm sure that Coconut and Strawberry will understand. I'm not so sure about that, Rainbow murmured to Applejack. I'll pretend I didn't hear that, snapped Twilight, facing Fluttershy calmly. Well, Fluttershy, shall we begin? Fluttershy nodded. The checkup on the owl proceeded rather quickly. Twilight's radiograph spell made it clear that there were, thankfully, no broken bones in his injured leg or wing. Only a sprain and a dislocation, respectively. He was a very patient patient, as it transpired. He watched the unicorn and Pegasus tending to him with a fascinated gleam in his eye. Whoo! Barely making any noises as Fluttershy gingerly slipped his wing joint back into a proper position. After the application of a small sling for his wing and some makeshift gauze for his leg, Fluttershy pronounced him to be fit in condition and very likely to make a full recovery. Although, you really should keep an eye out for eagle's nests. They could be very dangerous to unsuspecting intruders. Fluttershy added to the owl as he inspected the sling his right wing was kept in. Fluttershy then began to hoot the message in the owl's tongue. Whoo! When the owl suddenly hooted over her. Whoo! Oh, okay. So, you understand what I'm saying right now? Asked Fluttershy. Whoo! Her genius, cut in Rainbow Dash. Rainbow Dash, he's not asking a question. He's hooting! Twilight snapped. Rainbow Dash gave a nervous grin. No need to get fussy, Twilight. I was just messing around. Whoo! I was, you stupid little... Rainbow Dash, you are on very thin ice right now, Twilight shouted. I know that we had a good talk just a few minutes ago, but there's no reason to speak out of turn. Whoa! What did I say? Rainbow Dash asked defensively. You said that this owl here is stupid. She looked down at the owl on the table, with a feeling in her heart bordering on adoration. He's not stupid. Owls are among the smartest, non-sapient avians on the face of the planet. They make excellent mail carriers. They can see perfectly in the dark, and... She giggled as the owl began to spin his head around and around. They can spin their heads all the way around to see wherever they want. I've always admired owls so much. Whew. Fluttershy faced Twilight. He wants to know what our names are. Sorry, Twilight, Fluttershy, but he said who. It was pretty obvious, Rainbow Dash interjected. Twilight glared at the cerulean Pegasus, but shrugged. Just trying to be honest here. Well, if you don't mind my honesty, your opinion was not needed, Twilight growled, before returning to the owl with a more sedate expression. My name is Twilight Sparkle, she said gently, and that Pegasus friend is my friend, Fluttershy. We're very glad to have met you. Whew, replied the owl. I don't reckon he heard you, Twilight, Applejack noted. Oh no, he heard us just fine, said Fluttershy. He was just telling us it was nice to meet us all. Now, can you tell us your name, little guy? Whew. Fluttershy's pink eyebrows fell in sadness. Oh no. What's wrong, Fluttershy? Asked Twilight. He doesn't have a name. He doesn't? Twilight was shocked. Then what did his parents call him? Oh. He says he doesn't have any parents. He just hatched all alone in the forest. Fluttershy was almost driven to tears by this tale. He said all that in one little hoot, asked Applejack. Well, that was a real hoot, added Pinkie Pie, wearing a broad smile and making an exaggerating comical pose, stretching out her forelegs, as though shrugging while standing in almost of a position. Almost everybody snorted a little at the little pun. Pinkie Pie, that was awful by your standards, Rainbow Dash said with a wry shake of the head. But thanks anyway. Yeah, things are getting a mighty heated there. Don't miss it, you guys. I'm going to keep him. Keep who? Asked Spike, who walked in through the open door with Rarity at his tail. Twilight's words almost didn't register, with the other four mares in the room with her. The newcomers were particularly perplexed by the statement. Once Spike's eyes settled on the owl perched at the table, his curious expression sobered startlingly, almost becoming melancholy. Twilight, are you keeping an owl to replace me? Twilight crossed the room in an instant, skipping up Spike in her foreleg and nuzzling him. Oh no, of course not, Spike. Nothing could ever replace you. But I am going to keep this owl as a pet. He seems especially smart and, well, do a fine job, I'm sure, in taking up your old responsibilities as my former assistant. Spike's expression softened, though by no means was his fear fully assuaged. So, I won't be handling your books anymore? For the time being, I think so, she replied, before assuming a sharp tone. But I expect you to brush your teeth for exactly 3 minutes after every meal. You never know what germs or microbes could be calling your mouth home after lunch. And to make sure to wash your own dishes after meals are finished. And to make sure to water your grandparents and... What's so funny? You're becoming such a mommy, Twilight, squealed Pinkie Pie, with over her mouth. It really suits you. Twilight blushed slightly, a faint smile crossing her muzzle. Really? Do you think so? So I know it's not the same at all, but do you think I could be a good caretaker for a pet? Are you kidding me? Offered Applejack, a callous little smile and tilted her head. After seeing your first reaction to that owl getting pony handled by that eagle varmint, I don't doubt you'll be a fine pet owner. And I can help too, Spike piped in, raising a claw eagerly. Twilight smiled graciously at Spike. Thanks, Spike. But don't forget that involves cleaning up after his messes, too. Who? He says that he only goes in the woods, Twilight, interjected Fluttershy. Well, That solves one problem, doesn't it? Spike smiled hopefully. Maybe, but there's still one big problem. What should I name him? Twilight ran a cloven hoof across her stubble and deep pensively. A series of pet names from a pet book she read as a filly ran through her mind. But none of them seemed to fit the bird poised patiently in front of her. Finally, a click, and Twilight beamed. Oh, I know! I'll name you Owlicious! Woohoo! The owl flapped his good wing energetically. He says that he likes it. Twilight stretched out her foreleg, and the owl, now known as Owlicious, lighted upon it. All right, Owlicious as is. Owlicious? Echoed Applejack. Owlicious? Asked Spike. Owlicious? Pinkie Pie put in. Twilight gave the trio slight stares. Owlicious, she replied slowly. It's not that hard to pronounce Owlicious, really. No, but it's dang hard to spell. I swear, I'm going to find which one of you writers decided to name Owlicious such a hard-to-spell name! Well, I, for one, think it's a lovely name, offered Verity. Most befitting of a fine specimen of a bird. Woohoo! Hooted Owlicious, attempting to hide his face under his good wing. Fluttershy chuckled slightly. He says that you'll give him a big ego if he keeps saying things like that, Rarity. Oh! Twilight gasped. I still need to introduce you to every pony else, Owlicious. This is Rarity. That's Pinkie Pie. This is my surrogate son, Spike, and... Twilight trailed off. Wait. Where's Rainbow Dash? The cerulean Pegasus was nowhere to be seen in the home. Where does he go? Asked Applejack. Oh, dear, whimpered Fluttershy. Oh, dear, it's right, Pinkie squealed. We're in an entire village full of deer. Well, except for one little pony who thinks he's a deer. He looks so cute with those branches tied to the top of his head. Rainbow's words from their first night in Hearthind echoed in Twilight's mind. You really think lying to him is the answer? Twilight's heart stopped to her throat. She's going to tell Butter and Eggs about what he really is! Twilight sounded an alarm. Alice is hopping to the table in shock. She's what? Growled Applejack. That filly sure doesn't leave him well enough alone! But is that really so bad? Asked Fluttershy hesitantly. I don't know, Twilight replied. But it's not really any of our business to let him know. It should be up to his dear parents to tell him. Twilight's eyes furrowed. We have to stop her! She led the band in a gallop straight out of the village square, Fluttershy trailing behind uncertainly. Spike stood at the awkwardly beside the table with Owlicious, claws outstretched awkwardly toward the rapidly disappearing mares. After several moments, he crossed his arms. Well, I'll just stay here and look after the owl, he grumbled. Whew! You, of course! You're the owl, Owlicious! Whew! That really is all you could say, isn't it? Hearthind was not a very large village by any stretch. You could easily trot from one end of the village to the other in 2 minutes, even with the haphazard arrangement of the houses and huts to match the placements of the trees of the surrounding forest. However, to Twilight Sparkle and her band, the search for the errant Pegasus seemed to take an eternity. How could I have been so stupid? Twilight thought, frustrated. I knew that she was really bothered by that little white lie, so why didn't I keep an eye on her when she was clearly bothered by her element not activating? Oh, Rainbow Dash, don't cough! You better not ruin our stay in the village like this. There she is! Cried out Pinkie Pie, pointing toward a small herd deer near the edge of Hearthind. A cerulean Pegasus was hovering overhead, speaking femininely to the crowd. Yellow hooves could be seen through the thicket of deer legs. Twilight darted forward. Rainbow Dash! Don't! Rainbow came to her senses at the sound of Twilight's voice, shaking her head vigorously and facing the lavender unicorn sheepishly. Oh, hey Twilight, nice day, isn't it? I don't know what you're up to, Rainbow Dash, and I don't want you to breathe a word to Butter and Eggs! As Twilight spoke, the herd of deer spread apart slowly, exposing Cobenut, Strawberry, and Butter and Eggs. The little colt, believing himself to be a fawn, looked up to Twilight Sparkle with wide blue eyes.
What's wrong with Twilight? You say something to deal with Rainbow Dash, telling me I'm really a pony?
Twilight glared at Rainbow. You didn't. Actually, Rainbow Dash chuckled nervously. I'm pretty sure I did tell him. Mighty bad.
Is it true, Mama Diane?
Butter and Eggs asked his parents plaintively. Cumnut and Strawberry locked eyes with one another for several moments. Twilight could hear her own heart pounding in her ears. Strawberry knelt down to Butter and Eggs, seemingly kissing him on the crown of his head, but Twilight could see the glint of her teeth as he gnawed away at the ropes, tying the branches to his head. Butter and Eggs' mouth fell open as he felt the rope slide off his head and branches tumble to the ground around him.
Mom? Diane?
He whimpered. Cumnut and Strawberry rested their heads against one another's.
We found you at the edge of this forest, son.
Strawberry explained.
Some roving wolves had attacked a caravan of ponies. Cobalt drove them up, but none of the ponies survived but you.
We took you in so we could make sure you survived.
Cumnut took over.
You were barely a month old, it seemed. You could barely trot to save your own life. So how could you have lasted?
But why trick me into thinking I was a deer?
Asked Butter and Eggs.
It wasn't a trick,
replied Strawberry.
You wanted to play act as a deer when you were just old enough to speak. So, we tied a pair of branches onto your head. We didn't expect you to carry on at it for a week straight, so we didn't have the heart to tell you to stop. After a couple of months, it seemed like you'd forgotten that the branches weren't real antlers.
Butter and Eggs put a hoof to his mouth and thought,
Well, I really don't remember any of that.
You were 2 months old back then, so that's to be expected.
Cumnut said.
We really did hope to let you know one day. And we knew it had to be soon when you got your cutie mark.
Cutie mark?
The colt echoed in confusion, before looking at the sunny side up egg on his flank.
Wait, is that what this is called? A cutie mark? What is a cutie mark?
It's the mark of a pony's special talent. What they find really makes them special in their own eyes. Twilight interjected. Our little boy is exceptional at cooking any sort of egg-based meal. Strawberry smiled.
He only got it last week,
Cumnut added.
I had no idea what this was.
Butter and Egg smiled, said, as he smiled at his cutie mark.
I mean, there was this big flash of light, and bang! This thing disappeared. I thought it was some sort of problem with my fur, but now...
So, now what? Twilight ventured. Butter and Eggs looked up at the lavender unicorn, confusedly.
Now what?
Well, Twilight hesitated. Now you know the truth. What are you going to do now?
What do you mean?
The colt tilted his head in befuddlement.
I'm not going to do anything. These are my mom and dad. They raised me, so I'm not leaving now.
Really? Twilight replied, taken aback. Knowing you're a pony hasn't changed that? Butter and Egg shook his head with a bright smile.
I love Mom and Dad, and I love cooking eggs for them for breakfast, he said. Maybe when I'm old enough, I'll head out into the world and show the world things I can make of eggs. But until then...
He praised up to his parents and began to nuzzle against his mother's legs.
I'm going to stay here.
Strawberry's eyes swam with tears.
My little boy.
Rainbow Dash smiled with rare tenderness at the happy little family. Her eyes felt warm. Rainbow Dash? Twilight had approached behind Rainbow, who hastily wiped at her eyes and gave a nervous look at the unicorn. Rainbow Dash, I take back everything I said about what you should have done here, she said, rubbing her forehead ruefully. You had a greater understanding of honesty than anyone else did. You really do deserve to bear the element of honesty. The cerulean paced his expression, relaxed into a slightly cocky grin. Yeah, I guess I have a knack for speaking my mind. It's not just that, though. You initiated the situation where it resolves itself more readily than I did. And I've read so many books on pony psychology that your head would spin at just the foreword of one. If only there were more ponies in the world who were as honest and forthcoming as you. Rainbow Dash smirked.
Nah, there'll probably be a lot more fighting.
Twilight chuckled. That's probably two.
Mom!
Twilight and her band turned startled back in the direction they came, to see a fast approaching swarm of golden yellow eye lights being pursued by Spike. The small mulberry drake's call had also drawn the attention of the deer in the crowd, including the village elders. But none could breathe a word as the golden yellow lights resolved themselves into the glowing shards of Rainbow Dash's element of honesty, hovering around Rainbow Dash's head like a crown. Rainbow Dash gave a short but boisterous laugh.
Oh yeah! 5 for 5, girls! I guess the truth comes in all colors.
The elements flashed a brighter shade of yellow, reflecting in the center of Rainbow Dash's eyes.
Well done, bearers of the elements. Well done,
interjected Madame Oleander, suddenly speaking in a surprisingly caustic tone, as he wore a venomous smile.
You have unlocked quart and one of the quart and two elements of harmony. But what of the final element? What about the element of magic?
Twilight froze.
Yes.
What about the sixth element? They had activated each of the 5 material elements. The immaterial element of magic should have presented itself. Had they gone about activating the elements of harmony incorrectly? Where had they taken a mixed step? Was Queen Malakiko's information incomplete? Had the elements decayed over the course of the Megagrosso of disuse, leaving them weaponless against the Queen of the Eternal Night?
Hold up just a second there, ma'am.
Applejack cut in, with a shockingly hostile tone toward Oleander.
We ain't never told you or your dear about the names of any of the ailments. How would you know what ailments any of us got?
Oleander's expression of supreme suddenness evaporated away, her eyes darting nervously about her fellow Servines, who were giving her suspicious looks.
Well, you see...
Applejack glowered at the elderly doe.
And now that I think back on it, you mentioned mere hyenas to me earlier today, and I don't remember any time when we told you what sort of creatures we met when we were gobbling all around the world. Come on, Ollie, spill!
Snapped Rainbow Dash, flapping up to the doe's face. Her element's golden lights flickered across both their faces. Oleander grimaced at Rainbow Dash, before taking in a deep breath and giving the band of ponies a look of resolve as cold as steel.
The moon shall taste your blood!
Twilight had almost no time to react before a miasmic mist billowed out from surrounding trees, coalescing in front of Madame Oleander, driving back the alarmed herd of deer. Butter-Rene scampered between his parents' legs as they fled to safety, the other 4 village elders rearing back in fright. The mist took shape and substance, solidifying into 11 shapes.
Nightmare Moon and the Shadow Bolts!
Twilight felt a chill that had nothing to do with the night beyond the forest. Madame Oleander was in league with the monarchy of the moon.
How they could not have foreseen that!
How could I have not foreseen that?
Ah, darn it, I had a 5-spot riding on Rosemary being the one who was the betrayer. Dang it! Run!
With only 5 of the 6 elements, there was nothing for it. But the instant the Twilight spoke, 7 of the Shadow Bolts broke off from their group and restrained her, her fellow ponies, and Spike. The Bat Pony which held Twilight in an ironclad grip upon her midsection, and try as she might, she could not break his hold. Nightmare Moon's snake-like tail slid slowly through the grass.
After my darling little Dulon failed to attract you lot, I nearly began to despair of ever finding you, but thankfully she gave you chase straight into the realm of a vassal of mine.
Nightmare Moon,
cut in Oleander, boldly taking a step toward the dark Alicorn.
I've upheld my end of the bargain. Now you shall uphold yours.
Your end of the bargain?
Nightmare Moon hissed with narrow eyes.
Yes, your end, or have you forgotten?
Demanded the elderly doe.
I have given you the wretched fools you desired. Now you shall give me back my youth. Oleander, you villain! Cried Madame Rosemary. You sold us out, your fellow deer, our pony allies, for youth!
Yes, I have, replied the furious Oleander. I was a beautiful doe once, the prize of her time. I wooed many hearts in my time, courted many of the greatest bucks to ever grace dear kind, including your own grandfather, Fuzzhead. She turned a baleful eye upon the selfsame buck, who pawed the ground slowly, leveling a look of deep hatred at her. But my youth and my beauty faded before I was ready to lose it. Soon, no buck would look me right in the eye, and I was relegated to the role of village elder. It was dreadful. You cannot fathom my grief at losing the loveliness that was me. I can't! Strained Rarity from her spot in the grip of Windshear, who only constricted more tightly. Rarity, however, with her scraggly amethyst stubble, messy mane and tail, and matted coat, persisted. And you're a despicable being! Youth is to be cherished while one has it, and one loses it. It is expected to be looked back upon fondly, not clung to like a jealous schoolfilly. What do you know of the beauty that I was? Nothing! Snarled Oleander, before facing Nightmare Moon with determination. You return to me my youth now! I will not be denied. When it was so close, I could feel it! The armored Alicorn flicked a snake's tongue from between her vampire's fangs. A faint, lupine growl passed through her lips. Fluttershy quivered in terror at sound, before bat-like wings unfurled, and the pitch-black Alicorn growled. A bright blue glimmer shimmer, sparkling with white points, descended upon Oleander, who looked over her decrepit form in wonder and intrigue. Then she began to rise in the air. Higher, and higher, and higher still. Very soon, she was level with the highest branches of the trees overhead. What are you doing, Nightmare Moon? A terrifying grin split the face of the miasmic Queen of the Night, as Oleander continued to rise up and above the forest. Twilight felt a grim horror building inside her as Nightmare Moon's intent became apparent. I am simply upholding my end of the bargain, as you so wish, young doe. The maleficent mare sneered. You want your youth back by any means necessary, even betraying your own kind. You have proven yourself willing to throw away your life in doing so. Rejoice, my little dear, for Queen Nightmare Moon shall reunite you with your vitality. Yes, your youth awaits you, Oleander, in Elysium! Nightmare Moon's horn stopped glowing, and as Oleander screamed reached Twilight's ears, she heard Fuzzhead give a war cry and saw him charge at Nightmare Moon. Nightingale intercepted the buck and drew back a hoof in preparation for a punch. Feeling the bat pony's shadow bolt grip slightly lightly, Twilight slanted her head towards his muzzle, barely acknowledging the pain in the back of her skull, before pushing his legs off and firing blasts of energy at the faces of each shadow bolt holding one of her friends. Taking each of them into her Twimmer Shimmer, and drawing himself towards and Stop her! Shrieked Nightmare Moon, pulling them all into the infinite singularity of winking out, reappearing in the coconut strawberry home. Aloysius hooted in relief at the sight of his new owner. Woo! Butter-Rene and his parents barely had time to register the sudden appearance of the Court and two ponies and Drake in their home, before a sickening, crunching noise sounded from outside. Twilight had altogether too good of an idea what that sound was, as though she felt fury at the elderly doe's betrayal. This was smothered by a pity for whom she had merely wanted to feel young and free once more. What was that? Butter-Rene whimpered. That was Elder Oleander earning her due for her treachery, spat Rarity. Treachery? She tried to sell us out to Nightmare Moon, Twilight explained, and that sound just now was Nightmare Moon rewarding her as a traitor deserves. So, she's gone? breathed Combnut. Nightmare Moon is here? Twilight only nodded to both questions. Nightmare Moon's bellow of rays riled the home. Butter-Rene cuts his mother's legs. So, now where do we go? asked Rainbow Dash. Twilight furrowed her eyebrows. We go back to Ponyville, she said with determination. Nightmare Moon and the Shadow Bolts will follow us wherever we go now. So we go to Ponyville. We oust the Nightmare Guard, and then we unlock the element of magic. A single mind and will entered Twilight's mind. I drive to reach this one goal, to free the good ponies of Ponyville, and make the hamlet a bastion of rebellion against Nightmare Moon. As he found herself standing taller than she had in months. Are you girls with me? Yeah! Her friends around her stood higher than themselves, their eyes shining with the same willpower as her own. Ponyville's our home, Twi. We're with you to the bitter end. We're gonna ride those nags out of town all rail. Those nightmare gods will learn a lesson in how generosity need not to be kind.
Look at those scraping minis.
We'll show them who's gonna last. Spike placed a gentle claw on Twilight's chest, smiling adorably up at her. We'll save Grandma and Grandpa, Mom. I know it. Twilight smiled back down at the mulberry drake, drawing him into a warm embrace. I know we will. A fierce look crossed Twilight's face. But we don't have much time! In a flash of pink, the discarded shadow cells, a close return to their respective owners. Spike climbing onto Twilight's back, where he was joined shortly by Aloysius, and they waked out once more. This time, with a definitive destination in mind. The time to run was over. It was time to fight back! I just want to let you guys know, throughout the whole entire conversation, Miracle of Sounds, Take It Back, the song from Mass Effect 3, has been rocking out over in my head. Oh, this is gonna be good! Okay, not that it hasn't always been good. It's been awesome. It's been awesome the whole way through.